Today, I am coming to you to discuss some of the recent developments that have been going on in the news today. Um, and it has to do with personal credit. And it's a conversation that I am no um, that I am not that I know that I am accustomed to, I guess I should say. It's not a new conversation for me, because here on this YouTube channel, I've did over 300 videos discussing personal credit, and as well as many other things. And why this topic really intrigues me, because it talks about debt collectors. In the recent news this week, they've talked about the Republicans wanting to demolish the CFPB, which is, hey, how you doing, Matt? Which is a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And and then also, regarding the CFPB, um, there has been discussions about what new reforms are being added to the FDCPA, which is the Fair Debt Practices. That has to do with monitoring debt collectors. And so, like I said, I'm not no novice to this conversation. I'm very familiar with it. Wrote a book in 2011, updated in 2013, and at this time, currently working on another book to discuss this topic of debt collectors. You know, there's a lot of people here in the online space who talk about personal credit, who talk about raising their credit score. But then what I've noticed in this online crowded space is that some people are not talking about the topic regarding debt collectors. And so I've said in many videos, or if you've taken any classes that I had, that dealing with debt collectors, hey, how you doing, K Positivity, dealing with it score. Many people really believe that the way to deal with a debt collector is that you have to pay the debt. And let me put a disclaimer out there. I am not here to tell you not to pay your debts. If you feel in your heart of hearts that you want to pay your debts, by all means, you go ahead and pay them. But I am here to discuss with you that you do have to decide. You have to understand the nature of a debt. And that is something that many people do not discuss. Because, like I said, there are so many people here in this crowded space of personal credit that many people are just talking about raising your credit score. I have the magic pill, the magic letter, the fairy dust, and all you have to do is push this one button, and voila, your bad credit will be gone. Vamos, no more. And unfortunately, that advice is really bad advice because it doesn't exist. But I want to go back to the topic of debt collectors. So, in the recent news, there's been laws that's going to be passed, whereas the FDCPA may get modified. Right now, the FDCPA only allows debt collectors to contact you by phone. There has been regulations that they can contact you by cell phone, but it has to be done a certain way. They cannot have robocallers calling you. But now debt collectors want to be able to use different means of communication. And if that means, using text services, maybe even, social media, there's legislation that's being put forward that they need another form of communication to consumers. And so that is why this reform is being put in place. Now, a lot of people got their hair caught up in a knot, and oh, they're trying to do this to me. They're trying to do that. These debt collectors, this, that, and the other. And it goes back to the bare basics. And that's what I teach. And as much as, you got everybody out here, they giving all these advanced topics on how to process seem so convoluted and and confusing. And they know that if they continue having consumers to believe, and a lot of times it's credit professionals like myself, it's credit repair people, they want you to believe that this process is so arduous. You darn near need a PhD to figure this stuff out. And that's why, I dance to the beat of a drum of sharing the basics, because this is what I know. When you know the basics, when you know the basics of the FTCPA and how it can help you and how it can protect you, you're not going to get caught up in the new rulings that are going to be set forward by the government in regards to debt collectors. Because let me tell you, financial ignorance is $1 billion industry. I've said this since, I think 2011. Between 2011 and 2013, wrote an article on it, have always been saying that. And I don't say are ignorant, but what I am here to tell you is that if there is billions and trillions of dollars on the table, do you not think that there is not going to be legislation so these debt collectors can tap into that pool of revenue? Like I've said in so many videos before, see, everybody understands capitalism besides the individuals who are struggling financially. And those who are struggling financially have been or are playing with a set of books that don't exist. It's almost like someone playing a game with you and you like, well, why I'm not winning? Why these guys winning? Because see, they have the right rules to the game. And so those who are struggling financially really do think, I use this analogy all the time with the game of Monopoly. They really think that all they have to do is go around the board of like the game of Monopoly and just collect $200. Where everybody else understands that no, asset creation is what brings income into the household. So forget that, or in your household or in your business or whatever. So forget that I'm going to go around the board and collect $200. No, I'm going to be able to purchase these assets, create these assets, and then have people to provide me with income. How does this relate to the debt collection process? Like I said, billions and trillions they're going to tap into it. Like I said, the current FDCPA regulation really only allows debt collectors to communicate with consumers by telephone. But many Americans now don't even have a land phone. I mean, if you have a land phone, people kind of look at you with two heads. I know I still have one. I'm very old school. I still have a land phone. The cost of me having it is really pennies. So for me, I don't see, no reason to just have a cell phone. But I do understand there are people who just have a cell phone. So if you have millions of Americans who do not have a home phone, and really the only mode of communication is a cell phone, and even with that, most people are down looking at their phone, that they're only responding to texts. How are those debt collectors going to tap into the billions and trillions of dollars of income that's on the table? The only way they can do it is that the legislation has to be changed. But then, one may say when you hear me talk, well, Loretta, you sound like you're siding with the debt collectors. You sound like you want them to collect the money. No, it's not that I'm siding with the debt collectors. What I've been telling people, like I said earlier in this video, I have taught people for years. My book that's still available, I still send it and ship it out to people, teaches individuals how to deal with debt collectors, because you can know all the advanced strategies that are out there when it comes to your credit. But if you do not know how to deal with a debt collector that is harassing you by phone, that's calling your job, that's texting you, that may be reaching out to you on social media, if you don't know how to leverage the laws in the FDCPA to stop that madness, what you're going to do is deal with the anxiety that most people deal with when they are in a financial bind. And so when you know the laws, when you know how to apply the laws, I have taught people for years, there are methods, there are solutions, there are ways that you can leverage the laws in the FDCPA that I don't care if they contacted you by cell phone, text, social media, or what have you, there is something that can be done. Because it is wishful thinking for one to think that that money is just going to be left there. You know, I've told people for the last couple of years that I saw it, the way the rulings were with now debt collectors are now positioning themselves as debt buyers. And the way that they are purchasing, they want to have it to appear that they are the original creditor, because they feel like since they are purchasing the debt, that they are the owners of the debts, which in all actuality, same way with the debt collectors. But they found some way, they've hired the right attorneys, they found some way to weasel out of the FDCPA that they don't have to fall under those rulings. And I will not debt collectors out there that are very good at doing that. So are there solutions and strategies that can help you with fighting debt collectors? Yes, it is. But what happens is that some people get so caught up with people trying to share with them all these complicated, you need a PhD, someone has to bless you as the credit god, and if you're not learning from the credit god, there is no way that you could figure this out. And understand that the God is within you. When you truly understand that, and when someone is out there showing you or telling you, okay, this is where you can go to get everything you need to fight, to slay all these dragons, if you need to slay that Goliath, it's there. I'm going to give you the rock, and all you have to do is be like David and just sling it back and boom. But see, like I said, most people don't like simple. And like I said, I've been teaching it for years. That's why I said, to me, I'm not caught up in a knot, because I understand. I understand there's trillions and billions of dollars on the table. But this is what I do know, that for those who want to kill the noise, thank you, Matt, for those who want to kill the noise and want to get rid of debt collectors, there is solutions out there. Like I said, I'm working on some things coming up soon, because I understand that that's a very common conversation. And a lot of people think that the only way to get rid of a debt collector is that, you have to pay the bill. But like I said, disclaimer, I'm not here to tell you not to pay your bills. If you feel in your heart of hearts that you want to pay your bills, by all means, you go ahead. But what I do know, that raising your credit score, paying debt collectors, and getting out of debt are all three different things. I still stand on learn how to get more money. Learn how to create more income for yourself. Whereas that even if you gain the knowledge to be able to slay those debt collector dragons, get out of debt, what are you going to do to stay out of debt? And most people think, well, what I'm going to do is to stay out of debt is I'm just not going to purchase no more. I'm just going to be very wise with my purchases. And all that is a smart thing to do. I totally get it. But like I was telling a client the other day, even if you become debt free, you get rid of all your debts, you have no debts, if you eliminate the income that is coming into your household, you're going to go back into debt, because now you're going to use those credit cards and that good credit ball again, because now you don't have the income to pay all for the debt that you've accumulated. And so that is why I'm here to share with you that the book Jumpstart Your Credit is still available to still help you understand how to deal with debt collectors. So a lot of people still don't understand. It is kind of hard to listen to different sound bites here on YouTube or any social media platform and try to put this whole financial puzzle together. I recently had a guy who reached out to me. He's in my my private Facebook group, and he's talking about a 1099-C, canceled debt. And he's thinking that a debt that is discharged is the same as forgiven. And unfortunately, what a lot of people not going to tell you is billions, trillions of dollars on the table. Creditors are not forgiving debts. There may be some rare cases where you've been blessed and a debt has been forgiven, but 98% of the people, ain't no debts being forgiven. So I think he didn't understand the difference between discharged and forgiven. And so, like I said, people come across things on the internet and they try to customize a quick soundbite to their solution, when a lot of times they need a little bit more. And that's why I'm here, going back to discussing with people, having conversations with people about your income, understanding the economics of this country, how it can help you to sustain yourself financially, so you don't have to look for the magic fairy dust, because unfortunately it doesn't exist. But you know what? I'm bringing back Wealthy Conversations. Wealthy Conversations is something that I have privately on Sunday. And so I'm bringing it back. There is a fee. It's not a free program. In the past, it's always been a paid program. I'm not going to have it. It's not going to be as frequent as it has been in the past. Right now, a lot I'm working on. It's only going to be once a month. But during Wealthy Conversations, that is something that we're going to have. I can tell you right now, Wealthy Conversations is not for individuals who want to make excuses. And a lot of people get very caught up in their situation. And I understand, if you know my story, most people know, and then, I don't want to assume, but my story started with a debt collector. Back in the 90s, about 98, a debt collector took over $2,000 out of my bank account, levied my bank account. And there was correspondences that they had sent me prior to me getting into that situation. But with me not knowing the law, I ignored them, which is what millions of Americans do even to this day. That's why I said there's billions and trillions of dollars on the table. And so there's a million people just like me who didn't understand the law back in the 90s and ignored it, thinking it's just going to just go away. Bank account got levied, still have the paperwork, can still show individuals. I have videos here on YouTube. I still have the bank slip. I still have the levy paperwork from the courts. Money was taken out of my bank account. And at that time, I made a decision. That's why I said a lot of times you just have to decide. This is pre-YouTube. This is pre-fast internet, 4G. We were still in the dial-up stage. The only browser out there was probably AOL and Excite and some others that don't even exist no more. And so I couldn't even go to the internet to get the information. I literally had to read books. But when I made that decision to say I'm never going to have this to happen to me again, I was too broke to file for bankruptcy. So that wasn't an option. And I've told that story before. And once I decided, the information was put before me. And so a lot of people, they make the process really so difficult, but it's really just a matter of a decision. But see, so many people get so caught up on, well, I want to make sure I'm not getting duped. And my thing is this: anyone who knows me know all I do is share information. If you feel like the information I'm sharing with you is to dupe you, you are already in a bad shape. Because a lot of times I'm pointing you to the source. But see, a lot of times people don't believe it's that easy. Because like I said, I share bare basic principles. But see, anyone who knows those bare basic principles, even with all the legislation that's going on with, you're leaving? All right. You got everything?
Huh?
All right. You got everything?
Yeah, I
Go
got.
watch.
Oh, my pad.
Yeah.
Wait, let me say hi to the people. Hi.
So even with all the legislation that is going on, the principles will help you. Because these are changes, thank you. These are changes that are being put forward, but have now not been put in place. But even if they are, the one thing that I've noticed is that the current legislation that's in the FDCPA that monitors how they're supposed to communicate with you. I'm not going to go over statutes in this video. That's something that I do when I personally train people. But you're more than welcome to get a copy of the FDCPA, read it yourself, understand the statutes. And so as long as I know none of the statutes are being changed with how they need to communicate with you, by all means, it's fair game. It's fair game. Because I know that I can leverage the laws that are in that statute to stop the texting, the contact on social media, or whatever form of or the letters in the mail. There are statutes that you can leverage in the FDCPA that can help you with that. But I'm going to end this video here. I'm already at 25 minutes. It's now time to have a different conversation. I understand the conversation of debt, getting out of debt is still there, raising our credit score, but let's start to have some other conversations. A lot of times, on a daily basis, I come in contact with people who are really trying to win financially. And this is what most people will not tell you. You're not going to win financially by just getting out of debt and raising your credit score. That is a piece of it, but that's not everything. You definitely have to be trying to learn how to bring in more income for yourself, how to even create assets or either purchase assets to bring in an income for yourself. You need to learn the different types of income. Many of us have only been ingrained to understand earned income, whereas you're exchanging hours for dollars. You know, that's why many people don't understand, well, if you don't have a job, how do you make money? People don't understand that, you know. They don't understand that even if you have a business, your whole intention is to bring in income. That's why in the last video I did about business credit. See, people will get the business, but want the credit, but not focusing on bringing income into the business. But that's a separate video, and I'm not going to add it into this one. But that's my those are my thoughts, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Don't get caught up. Don't get caught up. Don't get caught up. Don't let the new legislation laws that are coming into effect scare you. Learn how you can fight back. There are still legislation laws that are put in place that can help you. Now, when they start messing with that, you know, then I have to worry. Then I worry. But as long as them adding other stuff to it, it's fair game. There's fair game. Because my thing is this, they understand capitalism. Now it's time as us for consumers to understand it too. So like I said, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. If you want to learn more about Wealthy Conversations, get on my email communication list. I will not be creating no type of website about it. This is just something that I'm going to share with my email communications list, and that's where you'll learn about it. So how do you get on my email communications list? Underneath this video, I'm going to put some links. It'll be creditboost.yourmoneymentor.com or cashflow@yourmoneymentor.com. Any one of those websites will lead you onto my communications list, where we can talk more about some of the things that I discuss on these videos, with more of on an intimate setting. And you have to be on my email communications list to get access to that information for Sunday nights. Like I said, it's not a free program, it is a paid program, but it is a program that will be less than $25 a month. That's why I said the frequency will only be once a month. We will read books, we will talk about financial wins, and if there are financial losses, how can we eliminate them? Like I said, it's a once a month meeting, which is why the fee is so inexpensive, less than $25 per month. And like I said, you have to be on my email communications list to learn more.